Hey everyone, welcome to Patriot Warrior Soapbox, where I give you my commentary on the news today as reported by the Wall Street Journal. Let's get started, shall we? First up, we have the election results from yesterday's election. Some states had like city council, some states had gubernatorial, etc. But that is on the front page, but the article isn't until later. So first, I want to mention a couple others that are on the front page. First off, there's the printing company Xerox is attempting to take over HP. The bid for the printer maker would be at a premium to market value of $27 billion. It's quite a hefty sum for a fellow printing company. And there's also a convoy ambush in Mexico that killed by a drug cartel that killed 9 people, including U.S. citizens. And President Trump on Twitter said he declares war on the drug cartels, provided, of course, Mexico complies. Which my prediction is that they're not going to comply with this because they're not going to allow U.S. troops to cross their border and violate the sovereignty. So, I think that a military invasion of Mexico would be necessary to do it. So, we'll see how that goes. Probably not very well because countries don't like being invaded and whatnot. Then there are several hurdles now to the idea of Medicare for All. According to one survey, 59% of voters. Oh yes, by the Kaiser Family Foundation. That was the group that did the study. 59% of voters in March supported Medicare for All. That has dropped down to 51% as of October. Now, the reason for this, as this article and one op-ed later explains, is due to the fact that many voters didn't realize that Medicare for All would affect them. Like they thought when they heard Medicare for All, they thought of it as the public option that some people like Pete Buttigieg and Joe Biden are floating, whereby you can have Medicare if you want it, and you can buy into the system but it's not mandatory. It's offered as a competitor or alternative to private insurance. So that's what they were thinking, like something like that, or some other plan by which they don't have to give their health care, because about 210 million or so Americans currently get their health insurance from a private insurer. 170 million of those get it from their employer. So and those workers have fought hard for decades to earn the healthcare plans that they do. So asking 170 million people to give up their plans with the promise that the government can maybe do better or the same is not going to go over very well with many people at all. And then, as I said, I would get to the election wins, and I am. The race in Kentucky for governor was too close to call. The current Republican governor is refusing to concede defeat, so it's unclear what's going to happen to Kentucky. But the Democrats, who held the governorship in Virginia, but both houses of the legislature are Republican, managed to flip both houses of the legislature, so now it's all blue. Now this paves the way for a $15 minimum wage for Virginia, gun control, and a whole bunch of other like climate change measures and whatnot that Governor Ralph Northam of Virginia, the Democrat, and the Democratic minority in the legislature have been itching to push through, but the slim Republican majority had barred that. However, now with a firm grip on both the executive and legislative branches of Virginia's government, Democrats are free to push through all these measures. So, yeah. And let's not forget that Mr. Northam was the guy who got in trouble with earlier this year because a yearbook photo of him surfaced from 1984 when he was in med school because he was a pediatrician prior to being governor, and it showed him wearing blackface makeup. So a lot of people got angry, but he didn't resign. And even many people said, "Yeah, bro, you should resign." And CNN, get this, on the CNN, they report him as a Republican because he, the whole scandal thing. They don't want to blame the Democratic Party because, God forbid that happened. But blame a Republican, all fair game. There's also Then the next two people in the line of secession also had their own sexual misconduct allegations, which meant that had all three of them resigned, a Republican would have been in charge of Virginia as executive branch, because the guy who was fourth in line of secession was a Republican. So that's why they didn't retire. That's why they didn't resign. And so yeah, next time you hear Democrats saying they're a party of women and minorities, think again. They let the racists and the predators stay in power. So yeah, newsflash. And Democrats say they're a party of women and minorities. It's a power move. They don't give a crap. They say the party of straight white men. They actually did, but before the Civil Rights Act, if that was what got them votes. So there you go. Then Iran is taking more and more steps away from the nuclear deal that President Trump said he's leaving, and that Obama signed. Remember, $150 billion from taxpayers to Iran. Actually, I was gonna say that was the dumbest thing Obama ever did, but I'm gonna have to get back to you on that one, because there's actually a lot of dumb stuff Obama did, and I'm not sure. I mean, the Iran deal, like, no, that was by far really dumb, but I'm not sure if that was, like, the dumbest thing. Like, the ACA is up there, DACA's up there. So I'll get back. I'll get back to you next time. What I think was the no. Actually, this is probably the dumbest. But Iran is starting to have even more and more enriched uranium, which is the first step to building an atomic bomb. And it's not like, even though Iran says they're fine with risking the destruction of their country if it means the destruction of the infidel world. But let's be real, they're not going to do that, because that means the Ayatollahs are not going to do that, because that means they lose power, because they have no country to rule if it gets blown up. So, worst case scenario, they'll use the nuclear weapon that they build as leverage. So, which is still pretty bad, but at least they won't be blowing people up with it, because that's just stupid. The Cold War proved that nobody was mad enough to do that. No one. And then we bounce over to the op-ed section, where one entitled Elizabeth Warren's Healthcare Harakiri. For those who know, harakiri is Japanese for belly cut. It's self-disembowelment, a traditional Japanese suicide method that was practiced by the samurai and later by the army and the shoguns. So the reason why he calls Warren's healthcare plan, or why he equates it to harakiri, is because Medicare for All, the support for it, because as it is plummeting, due in large part to, as I said, people didn't know it affect them. But then how things usually work. People are all for something, they realize it would negatively affect them. That's how things work, always. So and as I've said before, and as this article is now saying, there's, like, obviously in the primaries, you're going to try to appeal to your base and then try to walk it back a little bit in the general election if you win the primaries, so you can appeal to a larger audience. However, again, as I said before, once you go as far as Warren's gone, it's going to be, like, impossible to walk that back, because you can be like, oh, I'm all for Medicare for All, and then when the nomination then come back and she's like, actually, let's stick with private insurance, and that's best. Because there's no way she can go back. Like Republicans and independents say you would rightly call her a fraud. Democrats, feel betrayed, she'd lose by a lot. So they call it harakiri because the support plummets for it. She still supports this idea. So like it says, you gotta hand it to her for the detail, but that it's effectively the longest suicide note in history. There's no reason for the entire Democratic Party to sign it, it says. So so William Galston, the author of this op-ed, is saying, just because and Warren shouldn't bring down the entire party because of one dumb idea. And then two more things in the op-ed section. One, Beijing Beijing is, it's called, like a euphemism for China. Beijing can't bring home the bacon, referring to the fact that the virus is killing a whole bunch of China's pigs, and they're the lead supplier of pork in the world. So expect bacon to be expensive, everybody. That's what I got from the article. And then finally, we have one titled "Why Black Democrats Favor Joe Biden." The most obvious, one of the main reasons is because he is the vice president under Barack Obama, who got large support from blacks. But also they, it's not just that. It's just that blacks as a whole are typically a more moderate / conservative voting bloc. Like they still vote most of them still vote. They're still like traditionally a Democratic voting bloc, but they're like moderate Democrats, not wild-eyed lunatics like Bernie Sanders with crazy hair. So yeah, they want to keep their health care and they want to keep the health care plans they have and their gas-powered cars. They don't want to have to give up all of that. So of course they're going to support Joe Biden because Joe Biden is essentially white Barack Obama amped up a little. Like he proposes to do like bring back what Obama did and then slightly build on that. So he's like white Obama 2.0. That's how I think of Joe Biden. White Obama 2.0. Which is, I think, fairly accurate. So, also, typically blacks oppose, like many black voters oppose traditionally progressive stuff like same-sex marriage. So, which the only reason why I mentioned that is because Pete Buttigieg is the main candidate trying to make a play for the moderate voters that Joe Biden's getting. But the fact that he's gay and is married would pose a serious obstacle to him. So, essentially saying that that black Democrats are not all in favor of this radical leftward lurch of the party. They still prefer like the center left ideas of Joe Biden. To be fair though, Joe Biden probably will get shoved to the left by everyone else as everyone else moves to the left, because just so that he can try to stay relevant. But yeah. And that is why I think Elizabeth Warren is going to be the candidate, because they're going to lurch so far left that she's going to look the best, and she's leading the way, so she's going to get nominated, and then she can be destroyed in the general election because she can't walk back those extreme positions. All right, that's all I have for you today. Don't forget to like and subscribe so you can keep watching Patriot Rear Soapbox.